We've got another amazing referee moment in the NBA. Finally. The Nuggets are leading 100 to 98 with 9:04 left in the game. At this point in the game, both teams are kind of chippy. They're not afraid of a little bit of contact. And before we get to the main meal, we have to cover some of the things that led up to Rivers' ejection. Dwayne Washington misses the close shot, and Boogie gets the board, though he does make it a little harder on himself to get it, almost like he wasn't expecting the ball to be right in his hands. Either that, or he was battling the invisible James Harden in his head for the board. Anyway, Dwayne Washington Jr. feels kind of bad for missing that shot, and he decides to put in some extra effort by going for the ball. Except, one of his swipes ends up hacking DMC's headband off. He just takes it, but the ref just assumes that DMC's okay and doesn't call a foul. So now, DeMarcus Cousins is left behind with his headband on the floor and a raging hate boner. Dwayne Washington, who looks back and decides to just not worry about it. He might be on DMC's hit list, but who cares? Now, the Nuggets don't have Jokic in the game, so the offense isn't going to be the best. They do try to take advantage of the double, but the Pacers recover as DMC passes the ball to Austin Rivers in the corner. It's always dangerous to face up at the corner, and Lance the Man takes full advantage of the situation by forcing Austin Rivers to protect the ball and poking the ball away, making the ball land off Rivers' foot, forcing a turnover. After the ball goes out, Lance gives a sneaky push to Austin. It's very hard to tell that he even does it on the camera angle, but you can barely see that arm just go on Austin, and Austin Rivers doesn't appreciate the little push. He pushes Lance back with some more force, they get in each other's faces, and both players get separated. Lance is like, I still got the steal, and Austin is still chirping at Lance. Let's check the play again. We don't get to see the pick because of this ref's big cheeks, but we can see that Austin didn't start anything. He's mad at himself because he made an oopsie. Meanwhile, Lance Stevenson gets a little too hyped from the play. He's like, did you see that, ref? But at the same time, he pushes Austin Rivers enough for him to go full aggro. Here's a better angle of it. There's the extension from Lance's arm. Anyway, they get a double T and leave it at that. Next, we have Lance shooting free throws. He made the first but misses the second, but gets in a foot race with DeMarcus Cousins for the board, losing it and making DeMarcus Cousins tumble like a barrel in the process. Lance is like, that was my bad. Time for me to go back to harassing Austin Rivers. Austin lays his hand on Lance's shoulders. There's just so much sexual tension. The cameras capture an evil spirit surrounding Austin and Lance. Nothing much. Lance does more, letting Austin get a good taste of his sweaty fucking forehead. Just absolutely scrumptious. Austin Rivers does a swipe that doesn't even connect with Lance's head, but Lance tries to embellish it. He goes full crazy mode about the call. He raped me! Eventually, the refs call a stoppage to review the play, but for the meantime, they just decide to slap a technical on Austin Rivers, his second. Now, at first, Austin doesn't realize he's been ejected. He just thinks there was a common foul on Lance, but then he sees the Pacers bench clapping, and the realization sets in, quickly followed by record levels of confusion. What did I do? He asks calmly, but before he can get another word out, Big Brother Tony Brothers makes the ruling that Austin Rivers is ejected for a physical taunt. What, motherfucker? Physical taunt? You mean to tell me that swiping the ball from one side to another is a physical taunt? Austin Rivers can't believe it. He's like, I didn't hit him. This bald Nuggets coach gets in front of Austin Rivers while he's speaking, which can only mean that he is censoring Austin Rivers going the fuck off on the ref. We will never get to know what Austin says because of the bald censoring men like him. So Austin Rivers gets ejected for putting his arm close to Lance's head. That's a natural basketball move. You can pump fake a pass. He doesn't even get close to Lance's nose, and when Lance moves his big ass nose out of the way, Austin actually passes the ball. So there obviously wasn't like any intent from Austin's side of the play. Doesn't even touch his beard. There's literally no contact there. That's not enough to eject a player. I mean, props to Lance Stevenson for embellishing the hell out of it, but like, these refs are screwed. They also review the call, but still eject him. This is the NBA. The ref really thought that Austin Rivers had the goddamn force, because there's no other possible way that this is worthy of a technical. Anyway, Austin's night is over, but the basketball continues, and the Nuggets still win because they're playing the Pacers. But still, that's a horrible call, and I stand by that. Subscribe or Lance Stevenson will harass you. This video is a wrap.